Hi, this is Ravi Narayan, mentor at MentorSquare. Validating your idea is absolutely crucial to the success of a business because the idea comes from your mind, the mind of an entrepreneur. It comes from his insights, his experiences. But the question is, are you the only one who's thinking this way, or is there a large set of people thinking this way? Is there a market for the idea that you're thinking about? That's where validating your idea comes into play. When I was starting my second startup, I met a senior from college who had already built a very large telecom equipment company and sold it to a much larger telecom equipment company. When I went to his office, I found him sitting in a very small room with one desk, a computer, and a telephone. When I asked him what he was doing, he told me that he had 100 potential customers' names on the computer along with their contact information, and he was calling them one by one. I asked him, he's such an accomplished entrepreneur, successfully sold his business. I'm sure he knows plenty of people to help him make his business successful. Why does he need to do this homework? What's the purpose? He said, see, I may think something is great, but I'm not sure if others are thinking the same way. This was a big revelation, and it was something that gave me a perspective of how to go about starting a business. So let's look at validating the idea. It's very simple, 5 steps. Step number one, identifying the pain points. So when you speak to potential customers, ask them what is it that they're facing in their businesses from either increasing their revenues or reducing their expenses. What are the pain points that they face in making their businesses happen? Also ask them what are those impediments, those kinks, those blocks that are there in their businesses, if removed, provides the kind of efficiency that is necessary to smoothen their operations, either sales operations or delivery operations, and makes the business a lot more successful, improving productivity or cutting capital or operating expenses. It could also be providing better reach to the customers, easier to make the customers understand what your company does. When I say company, it is your customer's company, not your company. And then reducing the price of the product. All these make for enhanced revenues. Having had this conversation, step two is to introduce what you have been thinking about. So now there's a context to take the discussions forward. Introduce your business idea, introduce your possible solution to the problems that they may be having. Gauge their reactions to what you're saying. Maybe you're right there in the middle of their word, solving their problems, and therefore they feel that there is indeed a very strong connection of your product or service to their needs, or they may feel that it may be completely outside the scope of what they are feeling or what they are facing, or it may be somewhere in between. It is important to gauge the level of interest. Having done that, move to step three, which is demonstrate your prototype or describe the business model that you're going to adopt to really implement your idea. Now, of course, this assumes that you have a prototype, and this also assumes that you have actually thought through your business model. It's important for you to understand that prototypes are prototypes of technology and prototypes of business. It is basically a very small version of what you're thinking of doing. Some people call it a pilot when they in the services segment, but more often than not, it's something that provides the same kind of value to a customer, but may not be at the price point that they're looking for. But it's for them to touch and feel and get a better understanding of what you're saying so that they can react to it a lot better and give you some very important inputs. Step 4, see what are the value proposition points that you made are validated and what points that you have made are invalidated. As in, validated being saying, yes, indeed, it makes sense, and invalidate saying, no, that's BS. If the potential customer is a gentleman or a lady doesn't want to talk about this, is being nice about it, you need to take the discussion to the level where you actually start getting a lot more of an honest feedback. Now, when the customer is taking the time to provide you this valuable input, it's very important to make a note of all the discussion points. Also make notes of what's the positive validation and what's the negative validation. It's important that the negative validation not be invalidated in your mind. Often, as a mentor to my entrepreneurs, I accompany them to potential customers or investors. And I find that the entrepreneur gets very excited by what is being validated positively, but completely skims the invalidation. In the sense that even if there is only 30% of the points that are being validated, he holds on to that with so much happiness and satisfaction that he completely forgets that 70% of what he said was invalidated. And that's a shame, because here is an important step in validating your ideas, and you have a blind spot of only looking at what is being validated. Therefore, be very careful about doing this. And step 5 is to refine your product, refine your pitch, and go back to the customers that you can and start the whole process again. The process is not very cumbersome. The process is not very unnatural. The process is an important and integral part of validating your ideas. I call this the rule of 10. Can you get 10 customers to work with you, be on the journey as you are iteratively making your products more and more relevant to their needs and their requirements? If you do that, I am very sure that your products, your services, indeed your business is going to have the best chance at success. Thank you.